10 Marvel characters who are way stronger in the comic than in the MCU. The MCU has an overwhelming amount of superheroes and villains. Sometimes we even feel that there are too many of them, with each character wielding their own unique abilities. Therefore, to keep things balanced in the saga, and also to set up the following entries, Marvel has to make some adjustments, to either buff up or tone down several characters' quirks, which can make them vastly different from their comic counterparts. But hey, it's all for the sake of the universe, right? Even though there's a good reason behind it, sometimes we, as comics fans, would feel a bit dissatisfied when our favorite superhero is not as strong on the big screen, or a supposedly big bad guy simply does not meet the expectation. Let's look at these 10 MCU characters who got heavily nerfed in the movies, and see if your beloved hero is one of them. 1. Adam Warlock. Originally the wielder of the Soul Stone, Warlock is an integral part of the Avengers in the comic, with powerful cosmic abilities, especially in the events of Infinity Gauntlet, but is nowhere to be found in the MCU's Infinity Saga. The audience was absolutely ecstatic when they heard the superhero will make his debut in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, but to match the Guardians' power level, Warlock was nerfed into a premature and hilarious version of himself, who's there for comedic relief rather than ability. At least, Will Poulter delivered an excellent performance portraying the hero, with some humorous moments here and there. 2. Drax. Another character in the Guardians of the Galaxy, Drax the Destroyer, is much different in the comic in terms of both power and appearance. In the comic, Drax is initially a human, who was turned into a bioengineered killing machine, who resembles a buffed version of Green Goblin, more than the big guy we see on screen. Comic Drax can also fly at supersonic speed, shooting cosmic energy beams, and using telepathic abilities. He can go toe-to-toe against Thanos single-handedly, and even rips out his heart at one point, yes, quite literally. 3. Mantis. Drax's teammate in the team, Mantis, is also built differently in the comics. Mantis is one of the most potent martial artists in the Marvel Universe, and her precog and psychic abilities are also much more powerful than in the movies. But hey, at least the MCU version of Mantis is much more of a sweetheart, and has a great sense of humor, as well. 4. Gamora. In the MCU, Zoe Saldana's Gamora doesn't have a particular superhuman ability, but relies on her stamina and flexibility instead. In the comic though, the former assassin has a super regenerative quirk similar to Wolverine, and can swim through a sea of lava while still regaining her consciousness. 5. Peter Quill, Star-Lord. It seems that most members of the Guardians are on the downgrade list of Marvel for some reason. With Quill, the nerf is more about his mentality rather than physique. In the comic, Star-Lord is a well-respected leader, who is also a master tactician, that can even rival Captain America in terms of brainpower. The MCU counterpart is also capable of making excellent battle strategy, as in the team's fight versus Thanos, but his hot-headedness is also what blew their chance of victory. In this regard, the internet has summed up Quill's character perfectly. The MCU Star-Lord is mostly Chris Pratt being himself. 6. Hulk. Even one of the more powerful characters in the MCU, Hulk aka Bruce Banner, is also a shadow of himself in the MCU. In the comic, Hulk is more drastically rage-driven, sometimes a bit too extreme, which created multiple personality disorders like Immortal Hulk, World Breaker Hulk, and Titan. In terms of power, comic Hulk also wields better strength and endurance, along with a powerful regeneration ability, while his MCU version is much tamer, and has more control of his emotion. As Banner's story is yet to be over in the movies, hopefully, we'll get to see a different version of the Green Guy in his future appearances. 7. Odin. We all know how powerful the Allfather is in Norse mythology, and the Marvel comics, he's equally as powerful. With the legendary spear Gungnir in hand, Odin easily defeats a prime Surtur in the comic. He's also capable of wielding powerful magic spells, like teleporting and traveling through time. Even with Mjolnir, Thor was outmatched by his father every time they fight. That alone shows how ridiculously strong Odin is. He even defeats Thanos at one point in the comic. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see the same powerful god in the MCU, as all the spotlights are focused on Thor, and Odin passed away, before we can even see a glimpse of his true potential. 8. Doctor Strange. Stephen Strange's magic abilities are flamboyantly showcased in the MCU, with an insane amount of flashy and abstract special effects used to maximize its potential, but even with the Eye of Agamotto, still doesn't hold a candle to what his comic counterpart can do. This version of Doctor Strange can solo Adam Warlock with the Infinity Gauntlet, rebuild the Earth from scratch, and even capable of alter reality. But the comic, Strange is also a very entitled and arrogant one, so the MCU version is probably more well-loved by fans. 9. Quicksilver. Aaron Taylor Johnson's Quicksilver time in Marvel was short, as he met his demise saving Hawkeye and the civilians from a barrage of bullets. It was a tragic death, and an undeserved one considering how strong the former is in the comic. The comet Quicksilver can run at Mach 10, think faster, and can even create a cyclonic storm using his speed. If Marvel has made Quicksilver more like his 20th Century Fox version, the hero would have been a much more formidable character in the franchise. 10. Thanos. The Mad Titan was the ultimate bad guy in the Infinity Saga, and the Avengers have to sacrifice everything they have to just barely defeat him. However, Thanos' comic version is even more powerful than the MCU counterpart, as he can absorb cosmic energy and wield telepathic and telekinesis skills. He also has a magical chair that isn't even utilized in the movies, which grants him the ability to fly across dimensions, time travel, and force field projection. The Avengers may consider themselves lucky to not bump into this version of Thanos, or things could have gotten really ugly. Are there any characters in the MCU who got nerfed compared to the comics? Let us know in the comments below.